I dig that. But so you get, yeah, I mean, I could see it. In this movie, he does fine. There's nothing wrong with him he does a totally serviceable job. It's kind of nice having a fresh face, different face carrying a franchise too. I don't know if you've ever thought about that. Sometimes it's kind of nice to have a Taylor Kitsch thrown in every now and again.
What a callback.
Yeah. Well, I was a huge Friday Night Lights fan, so when he started hitting big, I was like, yeah. But I think he found his niche now in playing kind of slimeballs supporting roles. I think that's where he's going to be solid at. Like, he was in Waco and all those other shows, so I think he'll do it. No, I mean, yeah. I mean, who do you like better, Luke Evans or Carl Urban?
I mean, I think it's very hard. I think at this moment, I think I like Carl Urban better because I love the Star Trek movies, and I love him in the Riddick movies.
Yes, the second one with Tandy Newton, right?
Yeah. Tandy Newton, God bless her. She's had a wild career. She had
an interview lately that was bonkers. Did you read all the stuff she was talking about in there?
About Tom Cruise?
Yeah, and then the casting in Charlie's Angels, and it's very rare that you hear that openness from an actress. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, but she's in a position right now where she can do whatever she wants. Like she's nominated for an Emmy, I think, with Underworld. Or no, that already happened.
I was gonna say Waterworld. We mean Westworld.
Underworld, Waterworld. What are those
done Underworld? She could have done. She could have done Waterworld too.
Yeah, but I dig Carl Urban. But the thing is, like, I think in the long run, I'm going to end up liking Luke Evans more. Because at this moment, I haven't seen all of Luke Evans' movies, so I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast.
He belts some songs out in that. He's good.
Oh, he has an album. Did you listen to the album?
Oh no, I haven't.
Yeah, he has an album called I believe it's called At Last that came out in 2019. It's a cover album and it's legit. Like, he can legit sing. It's not something I would like listen to every day, but it was enjoyable for this podcast, just throwing it on, listening to the background.
And he's in Three Musketeers. I love that movie. Paul Anderson. I'm just looking through his movies right now. Oh, I dig it. And then High Rise. That was a good one. Dude can sing. He's in Murder Mystery to Adam Sandler. I'll take it.
Yeah, he can sing, he can dance, and he's just gonna. I mean, he's popping off, but he's in a Bastion prequel that's coming out or being in post production, I think, or pre-production. But he's gonna pop off in a huge way. But I like Carl Urban at the moment more because he feels funnier.
Yeah.
Like even in the MCU when what's his name? Scud. Yeah. Yeah. I can tell you when I saw that movie and I was like, he's too big of an actor for this role is the first thought I had in my mind. But then I was like, well, when someone asks you to be in an MCU movie, you say yes.
Now he has Star Trek, he has MCU. So he had some hero moments in that film too. So he went down just fine.
And I think wasn't he in Lord of the Rings as well?
Oh yeah, he was huge in that. And then he's also in The Boys on Amazon Prime, which people love.
Yeah, he's doing great. I didn't mean to derail this and turn this into the Carl Urban podcast, but I want to play a game with you, Mark.
Okay, let's do it.
If you will allow me.
Yeah.
And this is going to be called Luke Evans or Carl Urban. So I want to give you some roles, and you tell me who you would think would be better suited for that role.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. So number 1, Kylo Ren.
Wow. All right, let's see. I would have to give it to Luke Evans because as much as I'm a fan of Carl Urban, I'm a huge fan of Bruce Campbell too, but I don't see Bruce or Carl pulling off. I like my sullen emo Kylo, and I think Luke Evans could be better at that as emo, if that makes sense. So I want emo, so I'm going to go with Luke Evans.
Yeah, it's a wider swing in acting ability.
Yeah.
Or act like, yeah. Okay, I get that. Okay. I think this is going to be a more interesting one, too. Wolverine.
Oh, goodness. I immediately thought of Sideburns, and that has to go to Carl Urban. Let's see. Oh, man. Okay. Wow. You get two different ones. You get the world-weary one with Carl Urban. I've seen it all, done it all. Give me some Jack Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
And then Luke Evans, you get more of he has range, though. High Rise, he's a completely different character than you've ever seen him. Beauty and the Beast. I'm gonna go with Carl Urban on this one because he's a fan favorite, he's a nerd favorite, and I think his sassiness would be good for Wolverine.
Okay, interesting. I think I would go with Luke Evans. I think the first two for me are Luke Evans. Ooh. Number 3, Benjamin Franklin Gates from National Treasure.
Wow. okay, who can pull off Ernest more? So when Nick Cage, what I love about Nick Cage in National Treasure is that he dives into it with earnestness. When he is reciting lines, he is so excited to be there. And just, oh, it's in there. It's in this. Oh, I got this. Oh, we're going there. We're going to England. Yeehaw! Let's put lemons on this. Let's do it. Let's do it. And he's just so earnest. And man, I would have to go with Evans because I'm a huge Carl Urban fan, but I don't see him pulling off the earnestness of the role.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Carl Urban in this role.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think he's funny. Like he has the ability to be really, really funny.
Yeah.
And because he plays Bones really well.
I love his sarcasm. When I think of Bones, I think of sarcasm, right? Just sort of, yeah, no, he's in The Boys and that he's legit funny. I just want my earnest. I'm so, you know me, man. I'm like a National Treasure homer. So
I know that's why I included it because it'd be hard.
So I'm thinking Evans because of his earnestness.
We have two more.
I'm thinking these through. I love it.
All right. Mad Mardigan from Willow.
Oh, Urban all day.
100%.
Yeah.
He's a better Mad Mardigan because Mad Mardigan is sleazy.
He's more rakish. He's more sleazy. So if you think about Beauty and the Beast, Luke Evans is there's a lot of bravado. There's a lot of swagger. There's that kind of jerk type move. If Carl Urban was that same character, you'd like him more because it would just be a slimy kind of, I'm tough. So yeah, it's got to be all day Urban.
Okay. Number 5, the last one. Jack from Mary Poppins.
Jack from Mary Poppins. Wow. I mean, I guess since they're musicals, like the last one, I would have to give it to Evans for some song and dance. I think he'd look great on screen if they did another one with Emily Blunt up there dancing around looking great. So I'm going to go with that.
I agree with you on that one. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, he could fit into that world easily. Carl Urban could do it, but I just think you could insert Evans easier into that world with his Beauty and the Beast kind of things. But he's also pulled off really nice characters. So in The Alienist, he's a really nice dude. So yeah, I'm going with that. This was fun, man. This was tough.
Yeah, it was definitely tough.
You want to hear something interesting about Dracula Untold?
Yeah, what?
So they filmed in Northern Ireland, Belfast. Love that place. Man, go to Madden's, get some Guinness, go to Duke York, they have great whiskey. I digress. But they had 6 art directors on this movie. 6.
Why?
Yeah, well, so, I mean, this is a big $100 million movie. I mean, they had sets all over the place. It had to move pretty quick. Time was always an issue. So I'm thinking they also had second units running on this movie. And I love in the behind the scenes videos of this, there's a stunt coordinator. The stunt coordinator on this film has a big old busted nose. I'm like, that's what the stunt coordinator I want. Some dude who's just seen some things. But yeah, so 6 art directors on this movie. And they talked about on the commentary, the production designer was on this as well, about how a lot of the sets were small, but they just augmented them with mirrors or kind of CGI. So the cavern that Charles Dance was in as Master Vampire was tiny, but they just sort of augmented it to make it look bigger in post. But a lot of the stuff was built. But I think maybe, yeah, I have never seen 6 art directors. I've been doing this podcast for a long time, and I've worked on a lot of sets. I mean, you might have 6 art directors. No, you wouldn't. I mean, even Marvel doesn't have that many. You have the production designer, art designers. You have multiple stage builds, but you have different supervisors. I mean, you have assistant art directors. You don't have art directors. I mean, I'm sure Titanic had more than one, but I'm just saying 6 is a lot for Dracula Untold. That's a monster number. But I mean, what did you think about the production design of this movie? The castles, the costumes. I mean, it's pretty lavish, I would say.
I would say it's lavish. It had a strange CGI quality to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe it was like too clean. I would like to have been just a little dirtier because I'm thinking about when the Turks show up. I was like, these guys don't look like they've been on the road for a couple months. They're just like, they look really sharp. Actually.
Yeah. They just sit around polishing their armor all day to do this. And no, you know what's interesting too is since they shot in Northern Ireland. I mean, they said they shot on the Giant's Causeway, which is beautiful. They shot in the mountains by waterfalls, but it always does. It never once do they have a big sweeping shot that just makes you drop your jaw. Like, wow, look at the grandeur of that mountain. If that makes sense, you can tell that they're on location, but I think you're right. You never sense the full glory of the location. The only time I had a sense of awe in this movie was when they were when his wife was falling and he was so when Morena, played by Sarah Gordon, she's really good in Gadon. I'm sorry, Sarah Gadon. She's really good in. Oh gosh, there's a show that she was in. Whatever. Alias Grace. I really enjoy that show. When he's chasing her down and she's falling, like that's the one time I went, oh wow, that's really impressive as a shot. I really like that. But I don't think I ever had any other awe moments. Did you?
No. Like the closest thing that came to it was the one versus many fight. But in terms of just looking at stuff, I was like, this seems fine. Like, it's like not bad, but it's like you're clearly just getting to the location, and I'm not overwhelmed or underwhelmed by it. I'm simply whelmed.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's maybe why this is going to be such a good TNT movie, is because that's not a diss. That's because it's just a good whelming. There's no underwhelming. There's no overwhelming. When I watched Green Lantern, I felt nothing, but when I watched this, I enjoyed it. So does that make sense? I'm not bagging on it because like I enjoyed it, but I'm also not saying that I felt nothing to the point of what I felt about Green Lantern, where I felt nothing. Man, I'm getting weird here. Yeah.
No. There needs to be a space in our society for things that are workmen and enjoyable. Like, you can't have a $200,000, $300,000 movie every single time. And we need to normalize having these smaller budget films. Not that, $100 million is small, but you know what I mean? Like, mid-sized movies need to make a comeback. Like, we don't get them very often, and they are probably more profitable, frankly.
Yeah, that's why I hope that maybe with Knives Out, because the Bad Times of El Royale didn't do too well. But I do love those. Those are kind of different films, but they're lower budgeted. I miss those days of $30 million films. Blumhouse is doing it at like $10 million, but I love a good $60 million movie. I love Deep Blue Sea, man. Like 99, Lake Placid, Deep Blue Sea, Deep Rising. Those were all just that Dracula Untold budget and just great for TBS. So I dig it. And I gotta tell you though, I was reading a review on Instagram. I love your Instagram page, by the way. So if you find it's just the Award Wieners Movie Review Podcast, look it up on Instagram. You find some really fun stuff. But you kind of wrote your review about this movie, and you said in it that it's just Dracula Untold. It wasn't trying to be anything else than what it was, and I think it succeeded at being what it was, I guess. So
yeah. It succeeded doing a new thing with Dracula, like telling a story that hasn't been told. How did Dracula become Dracula? It is what it is. I enjoy it for what it is. Are there areas that maybe I think it could have been a little bit better? Sure, but that's probably every movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I can't even think of a perfect movie. Like, even the perfect movies, like people's like Casablanca is great, and I'm like, yeah, but there's probably some things you could fix with that.
Deep Blue Sea.
I mean, okay, one perfect movie out there, Deep Blue Sea. You're right. I mean, let's just ignore the rap at the end that you need 6 layers of understanding to get the reference that he's singing about that hat.
It's perfect. That's why I like it, because he's not taking it easy on the listeners. He respects the intelligence of the people listening. Does that make sense? So he's kind of talking you, and he's not saying this is what it is. He's singing it, and you're like, oh, so I got to think about this. I got to know. He's not taking it easy on me. I love it.
Okay.
Ridiculous.
So we were doing this thing since when I'm on the podcast is like, I like ranking our 5 favorite things.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I have an honorable mention, but I'm not going to do it until after we're done, because you might actually pick this for one of your 5, and I do not want to rob you. But I want to say that, so remind me to come back to this. And I'm going to count down. I'm going to go from 5 to 1. We can go back and forth. My number 5 is freaking Vampire Vision.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's so much cooler than you thought. I was reading a review and people were like, this is terrible. And I'm like, what are you smoking? This is great. I love Vampire Vision.
No, it's sweet. And I love how he looks up in the clouds and everything clears out for one scene. You never see it again. But I love the vampire. I love Charles Dance in there, seeing the heartbeat and doing that. And it's very Predator-esque. I dug it.
Yeah, definitely.
I really do think that people go into these films really ready, with their fangs out, with their claws ready to sort of hate it.
That's such a good pun.
I mean, I love that Vision. I dug it, and that actually leads me into my 5th. And do you still want to go on about Vampire Vision?
No. You go on.
So my 5th is at the end when Charles Dance is looking sweet in a suit, and he's like, "Let the games begin." And my wife and I were both sitting there going, "We want this. We want Luke Evans and Sarah Gadon and Charles Dance, and just bring back Dominic Cooper. Who cares? In England, like I would love it right now if they did this and